Welcome to Home Park. It's good to see you here.
I think he's going to go far in his managerial career, and hopefully that can be with us.
In ourselves, and let's see where it takes us.
You look at it as a Premier League / Championship club, where when I joined, it was a League One or League Two team.
Time for the red flag to fly high once again.
They're fighting for the next contract. They're fighting for food on the table. If we finish where we are now, coming into the season, I play every single game at right back or in goal. I'm not going to complain.
Hi everybody, my name is Dan. I am joined here by one of the newest recruits for the Green Army. I am joined by Plymouth Argyle's own Matt Butcher. Matt, good to see you today. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Yeah, looking forward to it.
How's things down on the south coast? Too chilly down there? Is it all right?
It's been a bit colder this week, but overall it's actually not been too bad. I think because it's close to the sea, it doesn't get too frosty. It just tends to get fairly wet. So no, I've enjoyed it so far. Loving my time down here. So
No
hopefully
snow?
we can keep. No snow yet. No, I've seen
Nice.
the pictures around the countries, but nothing down here.
No, good. Before we kind of get into things, I want to talk to you about your career and kind of this season. I thought I'll kind of warm you up and we'll do a little bit of this or that. You might have played it before. A little bit of would you rather. I'll give you two options. You give me your answer and we'll kind of go from there. A little bit about you.
No worries.
Step one, the first one. Would you rather play home or away?
Home. Yeah, easy
Home.
on that.
In front of the fans.
Yeah.
Tuesday nights or Saturday afternoons?
Saturday afternoons for me, all day
It's
long.
match day, isn't it? Match day.
Yeah, it's
Sunny
just a
Saturday
normal
afternoon.
routine. Yeah, you can't beat it. There tends to be more people there, don't there? There's just a lot of waiting around on a Tuesday. You seem to be waiting
games.
for the game. And it's always a little bit colder as well, isn't it?
Comedy or horror?
I don't mind them both. Comedy. Yeah, comedy has to be.
Favorite comedy?
We'll go Christmas comedy. We'll go Elf.
Elf. Oh, that's very
Not my
interesting.
favourite comedy ever, but since it's Christmas, I'll say that.
Topical. Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox, I'd say.
Yeah. Has that always been the go-to?
Yeah, just what my mates are on. I'm not massive anymore into gaming, but that was growing up Xbox.
Nice. Instagram or Twitter?
Oh, I'm not great on either. Twitter probably. I seem to get more information and football score stuff like that rather than I'm not great on him either.
I know you're into your golf. Would you prefer a 300-yard drive or a 50-foot putt?
Oh, what I'd rather have? What?
Yeah.
What I'd rather
Which is your favorite?
be able to do?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have a 50-foot putt.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd rather do that every time. Yeah.
Nice. Night in or night out?
I'll say.
Oh, let's think about these. Oh, this is
it's a tough one. Night in probably most of the time. Yeah, I'd rather have all nights in and all nights out. It'd be too much for me. That.
Would you rather score, assist, or keep a clean sheet?
Score all day long.
Score, got to be done.
Yeah,
the moment when it's the back of the
feeling.
net.
Yeah. That's the best feeling.
Curry or a Chinese?
Curry. Not a big fan on Chinese. Yeah, I'll go curry.
I'll tell you what, I think Chinese are a little bit overrated.
Yeah, I'm only a Korma man anyway, but I'd still go curry.
Keep it mild, keep it nice.
Yeah.
Messi or Ronaldo, the final one?
Messi for me.
How come?
I just love the way he controls games. I think they're slightly different. I think he's just more enjoyable to watch for me, even if he doesn't score or assist. I think just watching his movements and how he gets away from players is just alien to me and is mesmerising, to be honest, to see what that man can do.
Okay. Well, I kind of asked you that question because this is coming out during the World Cup. Obviously, we have the final this weekend. Do you think Messi will do it? Do you think he'll lift the title?
I hope he does. I was saying to someone yesterday, I've been getting more nervous for Argentina games than I have for England games at times. Just because I think if he could win that, it would obviously help him in the debate, but also it just put him alongside the likes of Maradona and Pele and the people that have won it, and that question mark would just be a massive thing to see him achieve, because he's done everything else, and I think he deserves it.
Have you been watching a lot of the World Cup over this period?
Yeah, a fair bit.
Yeah.
Especially the games recently that have been a bit more spaced out. It was chaos to start with, trying to get 2 games in a day.
What was it, like 4 games? I think it was 10 o'clock till 9 p.m, wasn't it? It was carnage.
Yeah. So obviously with football, normally you can pick and choose when you want to watch in the summer, but the early stages you were either playing or in at football, so you had to miss a couple of them. So I've tried to keep up as much as I can. Yeah.
Good. I kind of want to start now, discuss the start of the season so far. It has been a brilliant start for you at Plymouth. What is it like to be back on the South Coast? Obviously, as a Southern lad yourself, you come from, is it Portsmouth? What's it like to be back in the glory land?
Yeah, it's nice. It's still miles away from my hometown, but no, it's do you know what? It's a very similar sort of city, if you like, to Portsmouth in terms of kind of the fan base and the community around the club. It's something that I feel like I've fitted into quite well and understood quite well.
Yeah.
Just kind of having that similar sort of reputation and relationship with the fans. I think I could relate to that coming down. Same with my girlfriend that's come down as well. She feels probably a lot more comfortable down there just because it's familiar sort of scenery and places where we can go on if we get a couple of days off, whatever like that. It's just that little bit easier. So now I've loved going back down this way and really enjoyed it.
And you arrived this summer from Accrington Stanley. What was the motivation to come to Plymouth Argyle?
I've always wanted to be a part of something. I've seen what they played against them last season and thought they were really unlucky to miss out. Obviously, couldn't quite get over the line last season to get to the playoffs. But I kind of saw it growing up, coming through, obviously at Bournemouth, that kind of team spirit and team morale and what that can do to get promotions. I've seen obviously a few promotions at Bournemouth, and that was largely down to the way people brought into the club and way people brought into each other. And that's all I got told before I joined the club, kind of the people. That was always something that come back to me. And that was one of the most important things for me, going into a good group with good people that are honest and hardworking, like the group at Accrington, was similar. So that was a massive kind of selling point for me, really, the people.
And of course, you're working under Stephen Schumacher, who has enjoyed a really good time at Plymouth Argyle. Was he one of the motivations, and what's it like working underneath him?
Yeah, he's been great since I've come in. I knew the assistant, Mark Hughes, I played with him at Accrington, and I got on with him great. And I spoke to him in the summer, and he told me about the manager. And as soon as kind of, obviously, I know he's not going to travel down from Liverpool just to mess around, if you like. They're very close to each other, so I knew kind of there would be similar personality and similar sort of work ethic, and he's been brilliant. The attention to detail he goes into kind of day in, day out is really impressive, and the kind of importance on training's been right up there, which is something that I really enjoy. And I think he's going to go far in his managerial career, and hopefully that can be with us, and we can get kind of the job done this season.
Because it's been such a successful start to the season. Obviously, currently sat right at the top of the table with Ipswich. What's it like, the atmosphere in the changing rooms right now?
Yeah, it's great. We've obviously had probably our toughest period of the season over the last kind of 4 games or so. We've had some quite tricky away games from teams that make it really difficult for you to get a foothold in the game. It's obviously been a great start to the season. I think we've got 3 points off the last 4 games, which doesn't sound great, but we're still sitting kind of where we're sitting. So that kind of shows what we've done to get to this point. It's still obviously very early. And I feel like if we can get through this period and start kind of getting back to the form we were, then we've got a good chance.
So I wanted to ask you about that. When you are flying high and you are in that really good patch of form, I think you've only lost at home once this season. So clearly you've been in really good form. How do you stay motivated as a group, and how do you avoid getting complacent when you are playing right at the top of your game?
It's difficult. I mean, when you're on that run, and we weren't even drawing games at a lot of times. We were kind of going back to back wins, and I think it's just that hunger to get back out there and that winning feeling. If you can keep kind of looking for that rather than anything, and kind of taking in how important and how good a feeling a win is, especially when you're at the top, because you're pushing the teams that are below you away from you, and that feeling of being top is something that I've not experienced before, and I think probably not of other lads in the changing room would have either. And I think everyone just bought into that and are super hungry to kind of to get that feeling back. Obviously, momentum's massive. We've seen it year on year in this league. You see teams after Christmas turn a corner and go on a run. We've obviously had a great run to start with. So it's just about finding ways of replicating that and kind of having a bit of a reset button and going again, to be honest. So hopefully these kind of last few results can kick us into gear a bit more.
And since arriving, you've been quite a big part of Plymouth's success, if I say so myself. You played in a variety of positions. You played in midfield, you played at fullback, centre-back. For you, what is your favourite position to play? Because by the looks of it, you can play pretty much anywhere across the pitch.
Yeah, midfield's, I think it's always going to be my favourite position, always going to be probably, in my opinion, my best position. But that being said, if we finish where we are now, coming into the season, I play every single game at right back or in goal, I'm not going to complain. So
I want to see that. I want to see Matt Butcher in goal.
I think that's the only one I haven't played yet. But no, it's look, if as long as I'm playing and part of a team that's winning, I think you'd ask anyone that would be exactly the same, especially in our team, the type of group we've got. Anyone would play anywhere for the team, and if that means sacrificing yourself a little bit, I've got no issue with that if we can get to where we want to get to.
I like that. You touched on Bournemouth there, and I wanted to take you back to the early days. What was it like? Because I know you joined Bournemouth, what was it, 12, 13 years old? Yeah,
around 13, I think it was.
How did you arrive at Bournemouth, and what was the experience like starting at quite a young age there?
It was a bit of a strange kind of way I got there, really. I went to a little thing at school, my brother. I was probably about 2 years older than the next kid there, so obviously I'm going to stand out from that respect. I was the oldest there by a mile. Kind of didn't think anything of it. Thought I'm probably not going to go back to that. It was literally just like a Bournemouth coming to school. I didn't know if it was the real Bournemouth. I just did it because my brother fancied going and his mates were going. So I went to that, thought nothing of it, and then next week got a call to ask to come down, and then it just went from there. Wow. Obviously, the kind of the clubs in the areas at the time were Portsmouth, Southampton, and Bournemouth, within kind of an hour of each other, and it was just kind of funny to see that the clubs kind of went like that at the time. Portsmouth were in the Prem, Southampton were in the Prem, and Bournemouth were in League One at the time. So a few of my mates were at kind of the other two academies, and it kind of just flipped, and they did what they did and got to where they got to. And
the question is, did your brother make it in the game as well?
He didn't know. To be fair, in times in childhood, he probably had more than me. It's just about timing, isn't it? And funny how things work out. But he's gone into something else now, and he's doing brilliant at that.
Good.
So it's just funny how it works out.
Yeah. You touched on there about the rise of Bournemouth. What was the atmosphere like as a youngster growing up at a club that was clearly on the up?
Yeah, obviously it was ever changing, to be honest. The academy side of things obviously always takes longer than the first team. But I think for me, it was massively important to see what got them to where they got to. And that kind of gave me the hunger, like I talked about earlier, to be involved in that. I was looking at kind of the lads when we were doing like cleaning boots, for example, or going out to train with them and seeing that kind of camaraderie and relationship with each other and the fans and the city. That was a massive thing that I looked at and wanted to be a part of. I was itching to kind of experience of promotion with a team, and that come from kind of hard work and togetherness. That was kind of the philosophy they based themselves off of, and they still are now, to be fair. And they've created a club where you look at it as a Premier League / Championship club, where when I joined, it was a League One or League Two team.
It seems to me that a lot of these clubs, or a lot of the things you look for in a dressing room, is that kind of togetherness and that that ambition. Would you say that's a fair thing? And that's something you look for whenever you're moving to a club?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that gives you kind of an instant edge over other teams. If you can get a squad that want to work for each other and all have the same common goal, it makes it a lot easier to turn up day in, day out and put in 100%. So that's always something I want to be a part of. And I think that's the same for a lot of lads. It's not quite as easy as that, because obviously everyone's got different things going on in their lives. But at the minute, we've got a real good group, but that kind of want for that did stem from seeing Bournemouth do it.
I want to turn the attention now to Midas, which is obviously us, and you work with us now. I think it's coming on 7 years. How did you get involved with Midas, and how did you come across us?
That was I was at Bournemouth at the time. I think you had a couple of guys there, and to start with, there wasn't loads to do contractually. I thought the early years were really important, kind of getting a different kind of insight into my game. Obviously, I'm getting feedback and stuff from the coaches at Bournemouth and my peers, if you like. But it was nice to get a kind of different outlook on my game, and they really helped with that side of things to start with, and that was the thing that drew me towards it. I wasn't one of them that wanted to go and get a contract. I didn't look at football like that. I wanted to just get better, and then I think everything else takes care of itself. So to start with, especially, they gave me a different outlook on my game, because Bournemouth are looking at it from a Bournemouth point of view. But obviously Midas, growing up, looked at it from all sort of clubs point of view, and were able to give me little things that I could work on that maybe wouldn't have got brought up from a coach's mind.
It was around that period as well where you did go out on loan to a few non-league clubs. I know there was Gosport, Poole, Woking. What impact did going to these non-league clubs have on your development as a young player?
I think it does. I think it makes you a better player, whether you go and tear it up or you go and play a bit part. You learn how to get on with different people. You've obviously grown up being in your age group, and now you've got to go in and people don't care if you're good technically or you're a nice lad. It becomes a need, a must to win on a Saturday, and that's what I was craving really at the time. I wasn't a massive fan of kind of some of the academy years, if you like, because it felt like there was nothing that replicated a Saturday. And I think that's the biggest important. Can you go and stay in a team, a men's team that need to win, and they're all fighting for more than just an academy win, if you like. They're fighting for the next contract. They're fighting for food on the table. It just gives you a different dynamic that opened my eyes
to the nitty-gritty,
the real world. Yeah.
And
I've loved that that competitiveness, that kind of edge you need to play in a team and stay in a team, and just being in a men's team, a men's environment was amazing for me to see, really.
And do you sometimes see it in your game now when you're playing, and maybe you do something, or you look at some of the decisions that you've made along the way and think, oh, maybe that thought process came from that period of my life? Like, they're really formative years going out on loan to these clubs.
Yeah, I think so. Didn't spend a lot of time at them clubs either, but I think Gosport went and then played a couple of games, didn't play. You could see that as an unsuccessful loan, but for me, like I said before, I saw what being in the changing room was about. I saw what it meant to people, and watching kind of Bournemouth do it as a kid, and Portsmouth going back to who I supported as a kid. The importance to fans kind of just reiterated that point and made me realise kind of why I'm in football. Everyone starts as a fan, and you can forget that sometimes. So they were massive to kind of kickstart that love and want to go and play in front of fans again.
Well, you left Bournemouth and you joined Accrington Stanley, where you recently departed. Talk to me about your time there, your experience, and the development, or the impact that had on your development as a footballer. Yeah,
I think that's probably the most important move of my career. Before that, I come off the back of a couple of injuries, didn't play for about 3 years. So that was really important to get the right fit. And I think that was nailed from kind of Midas and the decision we had to go up there. was again based on people, their track record of kind of overachieving, if you like, in previous years. And as soon as I went up there, I fell in love with the club. I fell in love with the with football again. Really, I think it takes its toll, injuries, stuff like that, and I think they were probably my most enjoyable years to date in a football shirt, because it was game after game after game. I think I played 49 odd games in the first season, and that was I haven't played that in my career before that. I don't think. So it was it made me fall in love with football again, and made me realise why I want to keep doing it.
You touched on there about keeping on doing it. Obviously, looking forward to the season ahead. We're kind of hitting the midpoint now. What are your personal ambitions for the season, and what are your ambitions? What are your objectives for Argyle?
I think they align together. To be fair, our ambition is that we want to get promoted, and that is exactly the same as me. Like I said before, I feel like the best, probably easiest way of getting to the next level, which is the Championship, is to do it with a team. I think it's a lot easier, if you like, to do that with a team and be a part of something than it is to go and, I don't know, score 20 goals or do something personal that gets to that step. And if we can kind of all have that mindset, which at the minute we do, then hopefully we can continue to form and all get to where we want to, not just kind of individuals. If we can do it as a team, then all our individual goals will be solved alongside the clubs.
Well, I must admit, I'm a Bristol City fan myself, and these two teams shouldn't really get on, but I'm secretly backing you guys. I've got a little bit of a soft spot this season.
No, I hope so. Obviously, there's a lot of rivalries down here. The Exeter game that we played the other week, and that's what football is about. That's why we grew up wanting to play, and it's amazing to be a part of them kind of fixtures as well. And it's great to have these little rivalries up and down the country. We can all relate to whatever one you grew up watching as a kid.
You touched on there kind of the big fixtures and the big matches. We like to finish our interviews with this one. You have a time machine, and you can go to any game ever. Which one do you go to?
It would be the Barca PSG game.
What, the comeback?
The 6-1, yeah.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
I remember after the first leg, everyone ripped Barcelona off, and but if there was one team in,
was it 4-0 after
4-0,
the first leg?
Yeah, 4-0 after the first leg, and they they obviously had to win by 4 or 5, and everyone writ them off. But in the back of your head, you were thinking, if there's one team in the world at this current moment that can do it, it's Barcelona. And that goes back to the point of Messi, that he makes the impossible seem possible, and that game was nuts. Obviously scoring early, and then everyone remembers the Neymar free kick, but it was just complete chaos.
It's a Sergio Roberto winner as well in the last minute.
95th minute, something like that, wasn't it? Roberto, last kick of the game to send them through rather than take it to extra time. It's
a great choice. I'd like to finish the interview there, Matt. Thank you so much for joining me, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.